Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Old Ones. I'm your host, Andrew Tursky, and this is my podcast where I talk about everything retro gaming, hence the name Old Ones. Today, we have a special episode. This game is the third generation of what is now the highest grossing highest grossing franchise of all time. And I think a cornerstone in the Pokemon franchise. It's the third, obviously I said the third generation, and it's the third installment, or I guess second technically installment in that generation. And it is Pokemon Emerald. I'm going to play a little music there for you. Because the music in this game is fantastic, but I'm going to get into that. This game I had as a child, and this is the first Pokemon game that really felt like it was made for me. I also have on my, you could probably, if you're watching this, you can see on my shelf I have yellow, red, and blue right there. And then on the other side, you can't really see, but I've got gold and silver. I do not have crystal, because it's incredibly expensive and I didn't own it as a kid, and yeah. But this game I did own as a kid, and it was mine. My brother had Sapphire, I had Emerald, and I always thought I was a little superior because Emerald was looked at that time as like, at least for us kids, kind of the upper, unless you were a fan of either blue or red, the colors, which, you know, blue and red may be cooler colors when you're a kid. So green may be looked at as like the lesser, but I always felt like Emerald was the better game, quote unquote. But I actually have Sapphire, my brother's old Sapphire, in my hand. He's not a nostalgic guy, so he doesn't really care, I don't think. If he wants it back, I mean, he can have it. Actually, no, I want it. But actually, Emerald is probably my biggest regret. And if you've listened to, I think it was the first episode of my podcast, I talked about, this is one of my favorite games from when I was younger. When did this come? 2005, 2004 in Japan. I would have been 10, so this would have been like the perfect time. And it came out in May. My birthday's in June, so like I got it for my birthday. And that was like, when I got this game, I was like, holy shit. I am like, score. Because I loved Silver. Silver was my game. Gold was my brother's. It's a funny story with Gold. My dad threw it at the ground one time because he got pissed off that we weren't doing something, so he threw it. And then it wouldn't save after that. As a kid, thought it was broken. Really, I should have just opened it up and saw that the battery was probably dislodged. But anyways, that's another story. This game was like right in the peak of my gaming life as a kid. The first two series, like, I had them, but they were just a little more complicated for my young little brain to understand. So this one was like right in that wheelhouse of just perfect. I could play it all the time, you know, and just explore the world of Emerald. There were so many like hidden areas and places you could go, and yeah, you could get lost if you didn't either listen or read, which I said this before, but if there was any dialogue on the screen in most games as a kid, I probably wasn't listening to it. I was probably just like glaze over it, just tap A as fast as possible or B, and get through it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what do I have to do? And then I'd get lost. And that's my Pokemon gaming life as a kid. I don't know why. I wasn't a reader. I've never been a reader. I've never been someone who likes to read. So that was kind of my downfall. Because if I read things and I researched things, I would know how to play these games. But I kind of suck at Pokemon. And I mean, I suck at Pokemon as much as like the average Pokemon player. I'm not like a pro by any means. I'm not going to act like I know. Most of the time when I'm playing Pokemon now, I still don't know. I'm like, oh, does this do critical damage or super effective damage to like this? I do it and I'm like, no, it didn't. It didn't. I didn't realize. But I still have a lot of fun with these games. And honestly, it makes it a little more fun to me to not just know exactly what I need to do, which gives it a little extra fun, I guess. But yeah, Pokemon Emerald. It's it came out to reception, I guess. Most gaming websites and stuff gave it, goodish scores. I think it's in the 7s. I think IGN gave it like an 8. But the reasoning for those lowish scores was because it's just Ruby and Emerald with like small changes, and for them they said it's not worth buying it if you already have those other two, which I 100% agree, but also I kind of don't agree. Just because like if you did have those two, buying this one would just give you the same experience, but like with some updates along the way. I mean, if you didn't have the money, obviously that would make no sense to buy this. Then just leave it. Just leave it. But I remember playing Sapphire for the first time and Ruby. My friend had a Ruby and I played Ruby. And I was like, this is like weird. These guys don't have the same Pokemon. This is like, you can't get Rayquaza at least early. I don't even remember if you can get them at all. And there's different story things in those games that like will make you lost if you don't know what you're doing. And I definitely got lost. But obviously cover art on this game, Rayquaza, the one and only. And he's kind of the I would say the guy in Generation 3. Like, he is the guy. Even if he's not like the most powerful, he's just like, as I get it further into it, you'll see why. But you start out in your hometown of, I can't remember the town name. But it's not pertinent to the story. I'm not gonna beat myself over the head over not knowing. But you're in the Hoenn region. And you basically start out by saving the professor, because this game is very just, it took the first two games, and I mean, Pokemon's always like it's Pokemon, right? It's I haven't played like the newest Pokemon, but like Pokemon's always kind of like this. You start out, you've got no Pokemon, you either have to like find the professor or you got to do something, and then you get your starter. This one has 3 starters, just like the first 2 games. They're all either grass, fire, water. And you've got your water type, Mudkip, your fire type, Torchic, and you got your grass type, Trico. Grass type. And you're set on your merry way. Now, in the other games, I feel like the starters were a little more balanced. In this game, the starters are not even remotely balanced. There basically is an easy mode, a sort of medium mode, and a hard mode. Easy mode is Mudkip. Take Mudkip if you want to just like fly through this game. He is an absolute monster, especially once he gets fully evolved to Swampert. Torchic is like a medium mode. He's good. He's fire, and he gets fighting as he evolves. And Blaziken is a very good Pokemon. And Trico is hard mode. Trico is grass. He doesn't get a second typing as much. Like Mudkip gets ground. He's water ground. And Trico is just grass. And Sceptile, which is his last evolution, is just grass. And he gets very bad moves. Like, he gets, like, basically nothing. You have Absorb forever. It's not good. Do not take Trico if you are not an experienced player and you want to just, like, play through this game and have fun and not have to, like, train up your starter with other Pokemon. And the thing is, my last playthrough, which was I just beat it like a week ago, maybe not even. I picked Trico because I was like, I may have taken Trico before, but I was like, let's change it up, because that's kind of what Pokemon does so well, is like you can start a game, play through it, and get your Pokemon that you want, and then, you know, you stop playing it for a bit, and then you come back and you're like, let's change it up. Let me play it a different way. Let me get a different Pokemon, or let me, you know, set parameters like like those people that do Nuzlocks and people that do other challenges and stuff. And Pokemon is perfect for that, because it's just like it's an open world that gives you as absolute freedom, pretty much, other than it, you know, as opposed to like the first game where it really just lets you run, like lets you just go. This game's a little more linear, and it has a actual story, as opposed to like just go and, oh, there's like some Team Rocket guys in the way, but other than that, there's like barely any story. This one does have a story, and it's not a deep story. There's nothing crazy. It's just, you know, stop the bad guys again. But it's good. It's a good enough story. So basically, there are two bad teams in this. There's Aqua and Magma, and they are trying to awaken the ancient monsters, Kyogre and Groudon, who are the box art for Sapphire and Ruby. And basically, you're trying to stop them from awakening them. The problem is, you don't get there, you don't get there in time. They try to awaken. It's funny because like Team Magma is so stupid that they try to awaken Groudon with the like a blue orb or something like that, and Team Aqua tries to awaken Groudon with, Kyogre with a red orb. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. Kyogre, the water type, you're going to awaken with the red orb instead of the blue orb, and then vice versa for Groudon. And it just makes them really angry, and then they end up having like a duel or a battle when you get to the 8th gym, and then you have to go awaken Rayquaza, and he basically comes in and says, "What the fuck you two doing? Get back to where you need to be," and he breaks it up, and then, you know, that's basically it. And then the other story of the game is basically you're just a trainer, typical Pokemon. You go through the 8 gyms, you get to the Elite Four, you beat the Elite Four and the champion, and you become the champion, basically. And I mean, if I go into the leaders, you've got Roxanne, who's a rock type gym leader, which is cut and paste from the first game, except just she doesn't have an Onyx, she has a Nose Pass. You've got Brawly, who's a fighting gym, Watson, who's an electric gym, again, cut and paste from the first game. Third gym, electric types, not the same Pokemon, but same types. You've got Flannery, who's the 4th gym. She's a fire type. Excuse me. Norman is the 5th gym. That's your dad. He's the 5th gym. He is a normal type gym. Winona, she's a flying type gym. Tate and Liza. This is the first double battle gym to ever be in Pokemon. I don't know if I'm not brushed up on Sapphire and Ruby, but I'm not sure if they're a double battle in that game or if they're just a single battle. I think they'd probably be a double battle if, but let's say Gen 3 has the first double battle. Also, this game introduced, or not this game, Sapphire and Ruby introduced double battles. So you battle 2 Pokemon at once with your 2 Pokemon, which honestly gives it like it gives it another level of okay, now you got to learn how to double battle. And there are differences in double battles and knowing what to use, and like Earthquake does damage to both. Earthquake does damage to every Pokemon except for the one using Earthquake. So it actually does damage to your Pokemon as well, unless it's like, that's why if you're using Earthquake, you want a flying type because it can't hit flying types, of course. But yeah, I like double battles. I think it gives the game like a nice little change. Just a small change. It's not anything crazy. And then the 8th gym is a water type gym. And it's funny because like water in general in this game is a massive, just like, this game is about water. Like, they love water in this game. Don't know why. No idea why. But water is like, this game was made around water. I'm not, maybe because like Sapphire, you had Kyogre, he's a water type, but then like Groudon is a ground type, right? So like, I guess it's half water, half ground. Maybe that's maybe what they were going for, but like, there's no ground type gym leader, not one. There's a rock type, but that's not the same. So the final gym leader is water type, and then the Elite Fours are dark type, ghost type, ice type, dragon type, and then the champion, you guessed it, is a water type champion. Wallace. Now, that's different. That is a difference from this game to Sapphire and Ruby. Sapphire and Ruby, the champion is Steven. And I don't know, I'm not sure if he has like a specific type or if he's just like an all-around type, which I think he might be just like a all-around type, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, like, just naming that off, it's very just Pokemon, right? It doesn't change the formula at all. It is the Pokemon, that is the Pokemon formula, basically. So in that regard, I actually think it's good. I think it is it's not a breath of fresh air, but it's just like Pokemon did it so well in the first 2 games. Like, why change anything? Why like fix what's not broken, right? People loved the first 2 gens. Why would you get away from that, right? So I think they did a really, really, really good job of basically taking the first game, which was like, the first try, alpha generation. Second gen was like the beta generation where they're like, okay, we can fix some things. And then this one was like the 1.0 Pokemon game where they're like, we've learned from the first 2. Let's make this game. And I think they did a really good job. It was the first game on the Game Boy Advance. This gen was the first one on the Game Boy Advance. I'm not talking about Emerald. This one actually Emerald came out a year after Ruby and Sapphire, at least in North America. And I mean, the third gen is still looked at by a lot of nostalgic people as like probably, I wouldn't say the top generation. I think Gen 2 might be, people look at as a little more fond. But for people that maybe are my age, this one is like the one. Emerald is like, there's a reason why now you can't even buy it for less than like 75, 90, $100. Like if you really find it for like $75, that's a score, because it is an expensive game. That's why I still haven't bought it again, because, you know, most games, if I really want them, I'll go out and find them and buy them. This one I just can't really put down like $100 on right now, at least. It's just not worth it for me. But I'd love to have it. I'd love to own it for sure. This game also introduced a new TM, or a new HM, sorry. Your regular HMs were Cut, Fly, Surf, Strength, Flash, Rock Smash, and Waterfall. This one introduces Dive. And of course, this game being a water game, this one being like about water, gives you a dive TM so you can go underwater in like certain dark water spots. And also I believe Rock Smash was turned into an HM, but I think Rock Smash may have been a TM before. I think Rock Smash was a TM in Gen 2, and it took over for Whirlpool, and Whirlpool doesn't exist in this game, and Whirlpool is gone. The dive HM is useful. You need it. You needed a dive HM. The only downside to having this many HMs and them, you know, like HMs in every game are needed and are used in certain situations all the time. The only thing I think that they did this in the first 3 gens. I don't know if they did it in the 4th gen. I've played it through once, but I don't have memories of it really. But, you know, HMs being moves that you have to teach and then you can't remove until you get to a certain point in a game where you can find a move deleter, and then he'll delete the moves for you, which at least in this game it's like before the 7th gym. But it just it kind of like makes you just carry around a shitty Pokemon that you can just find that will learn as many HMs as you can teach them. Now, there are some HMs that are good. Obviously, Surf's a good HM. Strength's a good HM. Waterfall's pretty good. But most of them suck. Cut sucks. Fly's a good TM, or HM. But Flash sucks. Dive sucks. Rock Smash sucks. So you just gotta like teach it to like, I usually catch a Meryl and he can, you know, learn a lot of HMs, and then you just carry him around, and yeah, he can learn Surf, Strength, Rock Smash, Waterfall, and Dive. So that's like most of them except for Fly, Cut, and Flash. And then you need something else for Flash if you don't know what you're doing in caves. But I really do wish that like they just made it so you can delete HMs, because it makes you carry a bad Pokemon. That, I mean, if you're playing as someone who wants to hold a full team in your party and have them all level up, it sucks. But if you're somebody that just plays through and just uses one Pokemon, then that's you can still do that, and it's not as bad after like carrying a random Pokemon that has HMs, because then you're just going to use one Pokemon anyways. And I mean, if you pick Mudkip and you use Swampert a lot, you're just going to like use him most of the time, and maybe like another Pokemon, but like carry a Mightyena or like a Gyarados around. But I mean, Gyarados would kind of, you'd have a lot of water types. But anyways, this game also, I think, expanded on the dragon type a little more. I don't even know how many Pokemon they added in this game compared to like Emerald Pokedex. The Emerald Pokedex had 202 Pokemon, so they added 135, which is a lot. I think that's more than what Gen 2 added. I think Gen 2 only added 100. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. You might be yelling at me. But Gen 3 had 202 Pokemon. So obviously out of the 135 that are new, there was, I'm not going to do the math, but a lot of them from the other gens, which they always do. They always add in Pokemon from old games. But yeah, that's 135. That's a lot of new Pokemon. And I think they added a good Pokemon. I think this generation was still that Pokemon formula type Pokemon, you know? Whereas you get into like some of the new Pokemon games, and you know, people kind of almost laugh at some of the Pokemon that they add, because it's like you're stretching to make it a Pokemon. I think this game did a really good job of incorporating new Pokemon that felt like they were like they should be Pokemon. Like, you know, they added Flygon. Flygon is such an amazing addition to the game, and I think he's an amazing Pokemon. You know, Milotic, Armaldo, Tropius, Dusclops, like Walrein, Salamence, Pokemon that are Metagross, who's basically a pseudo-legendary, who's such a cool Pokemon. He's like, I think he's one of the coolest Pokemon for sure. And it really, I mentioned this at kind of the beginning, but they added, I was also talking about they expanded the dragon type in this game, because, you know, Salamence, another dragon. Two of the legendaries, Latios and Latios, dragon. Rayquaza, dragon. Flygon, as I mentioned, is a dragon. Altaria, dragon type. Like, I think they wanted to like pad out more dragons. Like, obviously there's not a ton. There's not like a ton of dragons, but they made the dragons like cool in this game. They made them like, they added, and I mean, obviously the name dragon type is already gives you that like they're probably cool Pokemon, but they padded them out, because before there really weren't, I don't even know how many dragon types there were, but there were not very many. In this game, they padded out a lot more dragons, which I think it's probably because of Rayquaza, but also it just seemed like they liked dragon types and they wanted to add more. Also, the amount of like secrets in this game were really for someone who grew up with this game and went to school and had friends that also had this game, and you could go to your friend's place and he has like the X amount of Pokemon, and you know, one of my friends had a Game Shark, and so like you could basically add any Pokemon you wanted in, and you could find all these things that you didn't know existed. It was like, and just playing through, after you beat the Elite Four, there are so many things still to do in the after game. I haven't even talked about the Regis. The Regis are Reggie Rock, Reggie Ice, and Reggie Steel. This is the first game they were ever in. This is when they were added. And they are some of the most, like, I would say complex. Are they, I guess they're legendaries? Or are they, like, I think mythic. I think they're mythic Pokemon. They're, like, the most obscure and just, like, out of the way Pokemon to get. And you really, the only way you can figure out how to get them is if you know Braille, which at the time, yeah, there was internet, so you could kind of look it up. But if you were just playing on your Game Boy Advance and you found this cave, which the main Reggie cave that you find is also not easy to find. You have to, like, you go outside of, like, one of the towns, you surf outside, and there's, like, these parts of the water that will automatically send you to certain ways. They're almost like a little, like, track or conveyor belt, I guess. And it takes you, and then once you get into, like, a regular spot of water, you can surf again. But you have to take a specific path to get to this spot where you can dive. You dive in, you go into a cave, which has Braille, and it says you have to, like, use dive again. And then you go into a cave, and then you have to have, like, specific Pokemon. I think it's Relicanth, and which Relicanth already is, like, a pretty uncommon Pokemon. Like, it's a low encounter rate in a specific area. And you have to have Relicanth and another Pokemon that I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head. But you have to have those two Pokemon. I think you have to use, like, Dig or something. Yeah, I'm even not remembering it correctly, but and then you get into, like, the main part of and that's not even how you get them. Then you have to go to other parts of the earth that got opened up, these, like, caves that got opened up after you've done that, and then you have to do something else in each one of those 3 caves to then get him, basically. It's a wild, or get all 3. They all have different things that you have to do. It's a wild thing for them to put in, but it really adds an extra mystery into this game. And I applaud them for doing this. And if you're somebody who sorry, whoa. If you're somebody who after you beat the game, you're just like, okay, I've beaten the game. I don't need to keep going through this game. I've beaten it and whatever, like, I'm done. Then you've kind of missed out on some of the fun of the game, which is, I mean, it's really up to you. I don't think it really matters. But, like, not only are there extra legendaries or mythic Pokemon to, like, find, there's also, you can also catch Kyogre and Groudon after. You have to go find them. And you unlock a thing called the Battle Frontier, which is just, like, an area that is built for battling and, like, and honing your skills as a battler, as someone who, like, a master, basically. And it's so cool to just, like, you know, the other games, yeah, you had things to do afterwards, but it's usually just finding little secrets and that's it. There were battles and stuff, but it just wasn't, like, I would say Gen 2 did it pretty good too, where you could go back to the Gen 1 Kanto and battle them. But they were pretty easy at that point. You had high-level Pokemon. You had really good Pokemon. You just breeze through it. It's easy. And then there was in the first gen, you had Red, I believe, who you could battle at the end. And he was like, he had like level 80s and 90s or something like that. But at that point, you probably had Mewtwo, and you could probably dominate. In this game, the Battle Frontier was like, you could battle with your own Pokemon, you could battle with rented, or, Pokemon they give you, they're only specific levels, you have to beat X amount of trainers, and blah, 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 blah. It just, like, honed your skills as a trainer and as a battler. Like, you really learned, and if you were somebody who, like, really play the Battle Frontier, you're probably really good now in the game. I did battle the Battle Frontier a few times, but then I kind of got bored of it, and then I was just kind of like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. But it's still a cool after game thing that they add, that just like gives you a little more playtime, gives you a little more stuff to do, even though I don't think Pokemon needs any more playtime. Like, it's already going back to play this game as an adult that doesn't have all the time in the world to play a game. It has, it's obviously an RPG. It's like, obviously it is an RPG. It's a turn-based RPG. But it does have a lot of grinding, especially if you don't go easy mode, which I'm saying you should probably go easy mode if you want to, take Mudkip and just use Mudkip and just go through the game with Mudkip. Sure, you can add other Pokemon, and if you want to use other Pokemon, that's fine. But just to get through most of the game, if you don't go with Mudkip and you go with like Sceptile, you're going to add hours onto your game. You're going to add hours onto your playtime, because there's a good amount of grinding. There's a good amount of like, you're going to have other Pokemon, and you're going to have to grind those Pokemon. So it does add, sorry if you hear me sniffling and whatever, I got stuffed up nose right now. But it adds like extra time to your play that maybe you don't have. If you do, you got all the time in the world, or you want to play this game and you just enjoy Pokemon, then it is the perfect game to just like just wander your way through. I mean, the last time I played it, I definitely used like speed up, because I just don't have the time. I just don't. It would have taken me way longer to beat it. But then this is where I was going to get into it with Rayquaza, because you find Rayquaza before the 8th gym, but then you can't have him before the 8th gym. You have to fight the 8th gym with your Pokemon that you have already. But once you've beaten the 8th gym, you can just go to, Mount Pyre or whatever it's called, and you can just catch Groudon, or Rayquaza. And at that point, you should probably have a Master Ball, because you've found it in Team Aqua's lair. If you didn't find it there, because you can miss it. You don't. It's not a part of the story, so you don't have to get it. You could miss it, but if you've gotten it already, you basically just get a free Rayquaza. And it's not just Rayquaza. Oh, Rayquaza's strong. Yes, he is, but he's level 70 when you catch him. He is level 70, 70. Like, that is incredibly high. That is an incredibly high level Pokemon. I believe in Sapphire and Ruby, when you catch Kyogre and Groudon, because obviously you catch Kyogre and Sapphire, and you catch Groudon Ruby. They're, I believe, only level 50 or 40. 50? 40? Like 70. 70. So when I was like, I'm not trying to play through this game as someone who's never played it before. I'm playing through this game who's someone who has played it before, and I just wanted to like beat it again. So I caught the Rayquaza, taught him the moves that make him basically unstoppable. I gave him Earthquake, I gave him Thunderbolt, I gave him Dragon Claw, and then the other move doesn't even matter. You could literally just leave the other moves at anything you want. It doesn't matter because you are going to decimate. I think it was Brick Break. I think I gave him Brick Break. You are going to decimate the Elite Four. You could use him and just absolutely cruise through the Elite Four. It makes it just nothing. And especially if you have like a Swampert already at like level 50 or something. Oh, you are just, it's not even a challenge. And that does, for someone who might be like an extremist or like a Pokemon purist or whatever, sure, it takes away from using your party that you've went through the game and leveled up and taught all these moves and made your team what you want. It just makes that all not worth anything, right? It just, that your moves, whatever you've done throughout the game, goes out the window because you've got a absolute beast that could just solo the whole Elite Four. And at that point, you've probably got like $1 million. So you can just buy revives, you can just buy hyper potions and whatever else. I think the only thing that I started to find at the end of the Elite Four is I was losing PP pretty fast. And so you just get like elixirs and ethers and whatever. And just at the end of each battle, you just give them a little extra PP. And that's it. That's it. You completely breeze through the Elite Four. So if that could be a downside to the game, but for me, I don't find it a downside. You could just decide not to use them, right? You could just decide not to use Rayquaza. And like what I said at the beginning, Pokemon gives you the tools. You decide to use what tools they give you, right? You make the game what you want to make the game. And that is the genius of Pokemon. That's absolutely the genius of Pokemon. But all in all, I think it is a very good game. I think it is a upper echelon of Pokemon games. There's a lot of people that will complain about things like I've already said, and it makes the game, whatever. But I honestly think it's one of the better, if not the best generation, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I have a lot of nostalgia for this game. Don't come at me. Well, come at me. I don't really care. People really love Gen 4, but that's also, I grew up in the time where Gen 4 was also when I was a kid and people played Gen 4. I didn't personally play Gen 4 when I was a kid. I never had a DS. I had a Game Boy, a Game Boy Advance, and then I never had a DS. So for me, I don't have any nostalgic ties to those games. One of my friends had like Diamond and Pearl, I think, and I played it a little bit, but at that point, I had my fill of Pokemon. I had Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3. I played them all a lot. And then I kind of just like, at one point, I was probably like, I don't know when Gen 4 came out, but I was already, I think, Pokemon'd out, so to speak, which is fine, whatever. I'm not going to fight you if you want to say Gen 4 is the best or Gen 5 is the best or Gen 6 is the best, whatever. It's all up to anybody that wants to argue. But for me, this is probably the peak for Pokemon. And then they've now since changed a lot, and for me, I'm not wanting to go to play some of those newer titles really. But you know what? The first 2 games that I've covered, Pokemon or Super Mario 64 and Jak 3, I didn't rate them. I didn't give them like a rating. But I think I'm gonna do ratings at the end, just because it caps off the end of the podcast better than just saying, yeah, okay, well, that's a good game, and then I just leave. So I'm actually gonna give Super Mario 64 the score and Jak 3 the score on this podcast, and you'll just have to live with that because I'm not gonna go back and edit those to give them scores. But Super Mario 64, I'm gonna give a 9.8. I think Super Mario 64 is like a close to perfect game. Fight me. I'm gonna give Jak 3. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I think it's really good. I just didn't think it was. I think there was some stuff left to be desired, but it's really good. It's a really good game. I just didn't think it was like perfect. And this game I'm gonna give a 9.5. Gen 3 or Pokemon Emerald, I'm gonna give a 9.5. I think it's like up there. It's probably my favorite RPG because I'm not an RPG guy. I don't love RPG games, but Pokemon does it so well to make it almost seem like it's not really an RPG, even though it is specifically an RPG. It's just it's Pokemon. It's Pokemon, right? I don't need to tell you what Pokemon is. It's Pokemon. So 9.5. That's it. And these scores were all out of 10, obviously. 9.5. I love it. It's a great game. There's a few, obviously, gripes that people can have. I don't think I really missed anything. Like, yeah, there's some small things that maybe I didn't mention, but really, in the long run, it doesn't matter. Go play it. It's fun. There's a lot of secrets, a lot of things that if I really wanted to talk about everything, it would take me hours and hours. But to summarize the game in general, it's just a really, really fun game. And I would say go play Gen 3. Play whatever. Play Sapphire, play Ruby, or play Emerald. It doesn't really matter. They're all really good, and I love these games. Anyways, that's been my time. This has been Old Ones. If you've enjoyed listening and want to hit subscribe or like or whatever you want to do, I would be very much appreciated. I don't know how many people are actually going to make it to this point in the video, but if you did, I so appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one, which will probably, I'm thinking it's going to be Mario RPG, but we will see about that. All right. Peace.